Hey my people, what's going on? This is Major with Major TV. I have the great Grandmaster J, Supreme Commander NFAC, the great Shawara. I mean, here it's about to be a powerful interview. I'm gonna start with Jay, just basically asking some real questions about what's really going on right now. Jay, doing this rally in Louisville, what it means to you, because you're really reaching out, and doing something special. In reference, we know what you did for the NFAC, and also you made history. I want you to comment on that. Making history today, first black militia pull up in Louisville behind Brown Taylor. Tell us what that means to you, man.
Let me answer the first part. First of all, thank you for having me, and I've been so honored to meet this brother. I want to reach out and say,
Positive vibe.
A lot of people don't realize that way before Facts Over Feelings, way before the morning mentor, way before any of that, I was listening to this brother. You don't know it. I heard a couple of his speeches. I used to feature him on my IG channel. Right. As a matter of fact, when people started hearing me scream, ooh, that comes from this brother right here. This is the person that actually is one of my learning sources. If y'all want to get into my library, one of the pieces is sitting right here. You didn't even know that. That's why I was so happy when I saw him come. Like, okay, they're touching the right people. Now, as far as the drop the charges rallying weekend that's happening here in Louisville, this is being put on by Louisville. It's not being put on by me. I was very honored when I got the invitation. I was taken aback because I've been going through this ordeal with the U.S. government, these bogus charges for about 7 or 8 months now. And during that whole time, I'm just going to be honest, no one has protested for me. No one has, there hasn't been any visibility in the streets, so to speak. It wasn't like when you pulled up for Breonna Taylor. I'm not from Louisville. I'm a descendant, just like everybody else, of slavery. And I saw an injustice against a black woman. And they say the black woman is the most disrespected person in America, I feel like, in the world. So that was personal to me. So for us to come from out of town to pull up and represent, for her to try to get transparency in the case and get some type of satisfaction for the people, you can imagine my concern when I didn't see the same thing happening for me. So this particular weekend, not just on just the rally itself, it's actually three days of events that they're doing. Drop the charges, not just for me, but for a lot of people who were actually charged during that time period for Breonna Taylor, who were exercising their constitutional rights. A lot of those charges have been dropped because of the backlog in the court system that's happened because of COVID-19 and the quarantine. They got bigger fish to fry, so they're really not going to sit there and just dilly-dally all these small, these cops just grab these people and, that's it. So they figured that, listen, while we asking for charges to get dropped, there's somebody who we need the charges dropped against, and that's Grandmaster Jay. So when they reached out to me, and to do it on the anniversary of the first march into Louisville for Breonna Taylor, it's very significant to me. As a matter of fact, it moved me to the point where I said that, okay, it seemed appropriate, and I would definitely be there and I would participate. And so I would say that it shows that the people, not all of us, but the people themselves had their hand on the pulse of what's going on. And a lot of people think that we are not paying attention. A lot of us are paying attention. But what we do as a people, we observe quietly until we reach a certain point where if we don't see some action, it's going to be some action. That's just how we are as a people. And I think that the folks in Louisville, they didn't see any action. And now it's almost a year now. So they decided to have these events, and of course I agreed to participate. So I'm honored to be here, and I'd like to send a thank you out to all of the different factions that came together. They got over their differences. There are a lot of different groups that didn't really rock with each other. They put those aside. They united, and then of course they became excited when they heard about the new direction that the NFAC was going in with regards to helping the people, feeding the people, teaching the people, all these different programs that we're rolling out. And so that means you can get in where you fit in. Even if you're a felon, you can still get into some of these programs, okay? It's not about the guns, just the guns anymore. Remember, our mission was to protect the people, was to teach the people, and was also to feed and grow the people. So we've already showed you we can protect them. We did that 5 times last year successfully by pulling up on situations not for show, not for recognition, but to address grievances with this institution that continue to wrong us. And anybody who does their real research will see that laws have been changed in the wake of those things. And we thought we had set something in motion that would, continue on its own. So there are other people who can probably pick up that baton and run with it. But now we have to start to address internally. Same way they're trying to get into you internally with that vaccine, if I could be so blunt. We got to get into ourselves and be our own vaccine. See, there's another disease we got. See, I'm about to get happy up in here. Let me tell you something. We already got a pandemic. We already got an epidemic. We already got a virus that's ravaging us as a people, and it's called institutionalized racism, and the fact that they robbed us of our generational wealth, roots. So we've been chasing the bag. When they say we chasing the bag, see, they don't have to chase the bag because the bag is given to them by their families. They have generational wealth. We got to make a bag and hope we can hang on to it. So I look at all of these systemic problems. The direction that we're going down addresses ourselves internally. That excites people. It opens the door for more people to join us, and it truly become a unified movement, no matter what you bring to the table, whatever your skill. So excited to be here, excited about what Louisville has done, and I'm looking forward to a great weekend.
Thank you so much. That was very positive and informative. And to the elder, Chawara, I have a problem pronouncing his name. How do you feel to be recognized and honored by Grandmaster J, considering the fact that you have been like, to me, in the background. When you came out, I first seen you resurface on OCD Great Channel. Somebody told me you spoke about it. And you and I, since then, have built a very, very positive relationship.
And, into a situation where we're being asked to revive ourselves. We're not really asked to survive anything. The illusion that we must survive something is an illusion. And we're here to revive who we are. Our ancestors and foreparents have already survived, and that is the source of our pride. We are a proud and powerful, strong people. We are proud and powerful, strong people, and we are those who come now to revive. And so when I first, through the grapevine and the communication system of this nation, came into contact with NFAC, Grandmaster J, I was very pleased to see that, because I saw that this is a very important reality for us. We need that. And so ever since that moment, I've been really clocking and checking. And when the disturbance came, which we now are here to go ahead and drop the charges, because anybody with a half a brain, not even a half a brain, you don't even have a half a brain, would realize that this is an unjust situation. And it is only right that justice be respected and be given to those who are unjustly drugged through a situation that is not incorrect. So we're reviving a reality that our people, with or without Malcolm X, with or without Marcus Garvey, with or without Martin Luther King, with or without Grandmaster J, we are going to revive ourselves. But we are blessed at this time to be able to sit in this point in time with Grandmaster J, because the scene has changed, has evolved to a different reality. It's an evolutionary movement. It's a revolution. It's a struggle, but it's an evolutionary struggle. It's an evolutionary revolution. Evolution is what has to be respected. So those who do not want to evolve, they become victims of evolution, not victims of NFAC, not victims of Marcus Garvey, not victims of Grandmaster J, not victims of Malcolm X, but victims of evolution. Black or white, makes no difference. Male or female, young or old. Evolution is to be respected because evolution is creation, evolution is God.
Let me ask GMJ this. You had a great show on Diamond Show TV, and there was, I mean, we now noticing that there are kings and queens that think highly of you. What do that mean? What do that mean for GMJ in reference to how you think about you and then the future GMJ?
First of all, it doesn't mean a thing to me personally. I don't look at it that way. I never did. If you remember in the very beginning when I first rolled out the vision that the ultimate goal was the establishment of the United States, of the United Empire of Africa, devoid of all foreigners that are currently on our motherland soil that are exploiting us, with puppet regimes, robbing us of our resources, our culture, digging up our ancestors, and a whole lot of other things. I had a whole list. And I also said that to the rulers that were there, that the only way it would happen is that for you all to unite yourselves in spite of your differences and then unite behind a single point. Didn't say person, point, and push it forward like we did in the past. This is what all countries have done when they've chosen to ethnically cleanse themselves of certain groups. There needs to be a cleansing of the motherland. When my message began to reach into the motherland, and I began to get feedback, first from the puppet regimes, which meant they noticed the message, but they really didn't think it was a threat, so they kind of ignored the message. But that message has now filtered down to where the true power rests, and that rests with the tribal leaders and the kings, who in effect have their political power taken away, but not their financial. They still own the land, they still own the mines, they still have the ear of the people. To hear those leaders get together and say, here we are a year later, and looking at current events on the geopolitical stage after the demise of the Trump administration and its global policies, they still see no relief. They just see another episode of the same old, the tentacles of Babylon into them. Now they've got some new players, the Chinese, and of course a few other folks that have now moved in for the kill. They've already raped, robbed, and plundered Africa for so many years, divided us up, passed us around like a cheese plate at a party. Now they're back to get the crumbs, and that's when I see them saying we've got to do something. So the NFAC movement, and I think I want to clarify this for folks in the United States, is that we have been, as the doctor said, we have to stop playing the victim role. We've been victimized so much, we've played the victim role so much that now it's become our default position. We're never the offender anymore. So what has happened now is we think that it's only happening to us, when the truth of the matter is, if you broaden your third eye and broaden your geopolitical scope of the world, you'll find out that it's happening to us in different ways, all around the globe. And at this particular point in time, everybody around the globe wants relief. Here's why. What cemented it was when whoever dreamed up this idea for a pandemic, whoever came up with this brilliant idea that I know how we can control the world, we're gonna put the whole world through a problem. But when you did that, you brought everybody into a collective consciousness on one accord. And then you stuck them in the house, so they had no choice but to listen. So it was easy for someone to put out a message at one time that they all could respect, including the rulers. Now they're trying to push these vaccines. Now we got black leaders that are dying left and right. Now you find out that they're talking about going to a digital currency system, a one world currency. All of this sounds like something we've heard before. You've seen it in scripture. You heard about the mark of the beast. You heard about the end times. A lot of people thought it was just something they talked to you about on Sunday, Saturday mornings, whichever take your pick. But the truth of the matter is, that's the same thing they said before the flood. Nobody believed it until it actually happened. So to hear these kings, these rulers say that they're throwing their support behind me on a global scale. To hear a king say, come home. To hear another king say, even though we were transplanted from the motherland, the ancestral drum still beats in some of our heads and we heard it. And that drum is saying, go home. It doesn't mean that this is still not something worth fighting for. It means that until there is a respect point of origin for us, then we will never be respected anywhere on the globe. It will always be an uphill struggle. So it's not what it means to me, it's what it means to the people, collectively. It's not something to fight over. It's not something any one person owns, but let's be fair. When the Most High decides to utilize one of us like a chess piece in the game, if you know chess, every piece has different abilities. There are some very powerful pieces on the board, but believe it or not, The weakest piece on the board has the strongest ability of all, and the doctor said it. Only the pawn can resurrect the queen. Only the pawn can resurrect the king. But if the king is taken, the game is over. Resurrection and a resuscitation is two different things. You see, a lot of people looking for a resuscitation so they can get to the next stop, but then eventually you die. But a resurrection is the rising from the dead, never to die again. So when I look at myself and other people who have been used through history, that everybody say he's a scoundrel, a rascal, that's good, because he's been to the bottom, and now he's been chosen to help everybody get to the top. Not to be at the top, but to help you get to the top. Might not get there with you, we've heard that before. The problem is, a lot of us have become so fixated on being victims that they can't even pull themselves out of this situation. So I think that hearing that overseas, and not just in Africa, they're also the rulers in Jamaica, the Caribbean called, they said that we're behind you too. What it's showing is that there is a unification process that's happening, and now has a life of its own.
Community-wise, I don't know where to start. Let's be specific about it. What do you think NFAC Energy should start first as far as in the community? Because we know you didn't roll out and probably spoke about going to the community and really making a difference. Where do you think that should start?
It doesn't start in any one place. Our problems are multifaceted.
I'm just saying, just specifically one thing that, whether it's feeding, whether it's educating, whether it's like you want me to teach people how to drive trucks or what have you, where we start first. I understand that it's complex.
No, I didn't say it was complex.
No, I'm telling you, I was raised as complex.
Let me tell you how I'm approaching this since this strategy is being rolled out. It might look complex to people on the outside because it has so many moving parts. But when a house catches on fire, they send a fire engine. But if 4-5 houses catch on fire, it becomes a multi-alarm. They send out multiple companies to fight all those fires at the same time. We are in a state as a people where this is a 9, 10, 12 alarm fire. It's not one or two. And the only way that we're going to put out the inferno is we have to attack 10, 15 fires at the same time. The programs that you heard me talk about are not starting in any sequence. They're all starting simultaneously. That's why we're telling folks, get in where you fit in. Because once they all start up, you will be like, oh, they're feeding people over here, they're teaching people over here, they're reverse gentrifying over here, they're teaching people how to get their rights back over here, they're doing CPR over here, Operation Big Mama over here, teaching people how to farm over here, teaching them the Egyptian tech. All of this is going to start at the same time. Here's why. Because the expertise is already in the community. The way this program is working, you're not doing anything that you don't already do. I'm pretty sure MajorTV is going to be part of the mass media communication program. We go into our communities to teach our people not to go get a job, but to give jobs. We go in to show them how to grow their own businesses, show them how to reclaim. People say, take back the block. If you ask them how, they look at you. But if I was to say, well, reverse gentrification, we're going to come in and we're going to buy some of them dollar houses, them trap houses, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our demolition company. And we're going to knock those places down. They'll be gone. Bring in our construction company, the girls with cranes and all that stuff, move all the debris out like they did down in Florida. Now we got lots that we can build on. Now we bring in our own version of Habitat Humanity and we start building in our own community, using our own people, using our own resources. So all of this has to start at the same time. But the very first thing that has to start is what we're doing right now, is you have to make people aware that they can be a part of it. Okay, that whatever you do right now, that's what you bring to the table. Okay, you don't have to sit around and it's not you pick and choose. No, that's why I said you get in where you fit in. If you're already a mathematics teacher, then why would you want to go jump into the construction program? Okay, if we got a CDL program going down over here and you drive trucks for a living, then why are you over here talking about Operation Big Mama? That don't make sense. You get in where you fit in. If they had let 20, 30 people on the ark, whatever you did before you got on the ark, that's what you're going to do on the ark. You understand what I'm saying? So these programs are simultaneously launching all at the same time. You get in where you fit in.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well said. I got to ask you, Elder, how you feel about that? Because I've never heard nobody speak like this. Talking about doing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, etc. things at one time. How you feel about NFAC going to communities? But at first, letting people become aware of what they're trying to do. And at the same time, have people like you and I and everybody that contribute in this cause. How you feel about that?
Well, I don't think it's really NFAC actually doing that. I believe NFAC is the spark that brings that action into movement. As I said before, if we understand how life itself works, it works by a process called evolution, not as defined by Darwin. Darwin created or invented and bastardized identity or definition of evolution. However, because we have been prepared, we dominate as a people all aspects of human civilization. We master the skills that we can do that. They're there, we're there. We're just being redirected by forces that is anti-us. And when we begin to realize that and cut off the addiction to those forces, then we're able to redirect our energies into a more of a self-serving reality, like being black first. There can be no culture without agriculture, number one. The first thing an infant does when it comes out of her mother's womb is they make their way to the breast.
Correct.
To be fed. And then we can then say, because of this action, that this child is a striving child. If the child doesn't do that, we say that is a failure to strive. So then they do particular things to get that child motivated to want to make its journey to its feeding place, which is the mother's breast, which has the elements in there for the immune system, which is now under attack by this type of people in the world that create things to destroy the human biology and to enslave people. Ultimately, this is I'm alleging these things, you know what I'm saying, but I see these things happening. The mother's milk is the best milk for the child, not formula. So therefore, the process of the NFAC, Grandmaster J, is introduced into the world is a process that is absolutely doable in its form, as he put it forth, that many things will be simultaneously put into action. This will take love and unity. There can be no unity without love. And so this is what it will take, though. It will take love, and it will take us also to understand that we as a people do not operate on a physical level. We operate on a spiritual level and in the psychological level. And so when we bring our spirit and our minds together, then we can unite physically. And these things will be done. There will be no force that can stop us from operating. It's not because we are here threatening anyone, because it's evident. When the truth rises, who is there to stand up against the truth? The truth is self-evident. Self-evident. When you stand up as men and women in the world and stand up, they're going to be pushed back, but
we got like 12 more minutes. I have a couple more questions for you, Jay. But thank you, that was beautiful, brother. I like the way you said that. For all the people that have been supporting, there's a lot of people on my channel. They really love you, really care about you. What you want to tell them? What can you tell them? I'm sorry. Talk to the people that really care about you, the ones that have been there for day one. I mean, this screen, I could be talking about something with positive vibration, I could be talking about something with whatever. Your name come up, man, and they love you. And I just want you to tell the people something, man. Because they always asking me a lot of things. I'm like, talk to them. Briefly if you can.
2 words. Thank you. Gratitude is the one thing that we as a people are very sloppy at. Let's be real. Appreciating the next brother next to you. Again, we've been socialized for 400 years to hate each other. That's how they controlled us. Tell on each other, tear each other down, hold each other back. To all of the people out there who have been rocking with me since the beginning, and those who came on later, who just came on for the movement, or for whatever your reason was, who could see the injustices that were going on, especially when it came to me, that have still stayed 10 toes down. Those people who weren't pulled away easily by gossip, lies, slander, misdirection. Those people who even fought on behalf of my name for truth. I would say thank you. I don't think that we always want somebody to do something for us, but a lot of times we fail to say thank you. I know that, and it hasn't been. And our enemy has unlimited resources, and they also are used to digging in for the long haul. I would tell you all to stay vigilant. Your efforts are actually working. Don't let people tell you otherwise. You know, I saw something the other night, and somebody asked me this, and this is what I would say to everybody. They said, you know what, there's a lot of people out here who don't like what's being done to us. There's a lot of people out here who think that, you know, what's happening is wrong. But those people ain't never responded to them. Let me tell you why they're responding to us. You see, there's a big difference between not liking what somebody's doing to you and being able to do something about it. When you can do something about it, you get their attention. But people don't pay you no mind, whether you like it or not, if you can't do nothing about it. And the movement that we started with NFAC, the whole rejuvenation of the Black Power movement, the re-education of our true religion, our true culture, and the amnesia that we suffer as a people means that we're putting ourselves in a position where we can do something about it, and none of this would be possible right now. I would be somewhere in a box rotting away if it wasn't for y'all. Don't let people tell you that, well, he don't need all that money. Let me see what you do when you get in my situation. It's very rare that an individual faces the U.S. government and the state at the same time. So let me see what you do. If you get in this situation, you see how expensive it is, but I'm only being able to keep up the fight and keep winning because of you. So I thank you. My heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you, whether you gave a penny or whether you gave $1 million, it doesn't make a difference. It's the fact that you came from your heart. And don't let nobody take that from you, whether it's me or anybody else. It should come from your heart. I'm going to end with this right here.
Hold on 1 second.
It is written that if your intentions are pure and your heart is pure, then the Most High will reward you for your actions. But if you have another agenda, you will reap the karma that He sends on gifted wings to you. But for everyone else, I love you all. I thank you. Even the ones who turned against me, I still love you. Because you're still my brothers and sisters. Nobody said we was a perfect family, and there are no perfect people. Shalom.
All right, last thoughts, because that's the last question. And I want to thank both of y'all first for the interview. Y'all was very powerful, very energetic. Y'all share a lot of wisdom spiritually and mentally. But I have a question. Tell me about your thoughts, give me your last thoughts on your journey before we close. Just closing thoughts, because brother, you had a journey. Tell us about it in brief. We got like 7 minutes for pull out.
I didn't see it as a journey at first. I thought it was just life doing what life does. But as the pieces became more clearer to me and things started moving into focus, I began to realize I was on a journey. But I saw footprints of other people who'd taken this journey before. And I realized that they weren't just footprints, they were instructions. It was a code. It were exits not to get off on. It was traps not to fall from. It was, here's what's coming up next. There was warning signs. This journey has become more so an epic journey because I realized that I'm not the one that's on the journey. I'm just on the vehicle and ride. That journey is controlled by the Most High. Where it's going to end, only He knows. So I learned to stop trying to analyze the journey. I stopped trying to understand every part of the journey. I learned that every day I open my eyes, it's a new episode in the journey. And I'm just still excited to still be on it and it still be here, because at this point in the journey is where I see a lot of people didn't get any further. So now I'm getting into the unknown. I'm excited.
Thank you, Brother Supreme Commander, Grandmaster J, and thank you, Elder Child Warrior, for coming in and just sharing with people real thoughts, ideas, feelings, especially spiritually connecting with everyone. I just want to thank y'all. And we will be doing this again soon, hopefully, but the Elder has something you want to say.
I'll say one thing. We must also remember that righteousness exalts a nation. Nothing else. I don't care how much resources a nation have, how much military power. If they don't have righteousness, they cannot be exalted. And I believe that the black race of people, copper tone, brown race, we are dealing with righteousness. And that benefits all of humanity, black or white, no matter what your religion is. So I think that when the NFAC movement began, that started the righteous movement and elevation of humanity. There's no nation in the United Nations that is espousing righteousness. Not one. Not one. So, I want people to realize that and want to know that everything that you do in the behalf of Grandmaster J, in behalf of NFAC, and anyone that is movement to liberation of black people, you're doing it for yourselves too. Understand that. So it's not like you're doing something for us. You're doing something for yourself also. We're all together in this movement, in this journey.
Thank y'all so much for everything. This is Major TV. Y'all like, share, subscribe. Just be black.
Old model wasn't none for me. Wish I really practiced peace, but sorry, I'm not Dr. King. Marching with our rifles out, you got the same right as me. This a Panther party, AKs, Max and MC Steen. Fighting for our rights, boy. This ain't fucking slavery. Want my people to stop